Hey Ram fam, it's time for Ramzone. Here's your host, Cam Allen.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Ramzone. We've got Coach Kevin Brooks with us today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm your host, Cameron Allen, and today we've got Coach Kevin Brooks. How are you today, Coach?
McLovin, always an honor to join you.
And so, Coach, we're already hot in the season. You're 10-2. How's that feel so far? Your 2 losses are first quality opponent.
Yeah, it is. It's early, but, we're already over a fifth of the way through it. It goes fast. I feel like we've done some good things, and we're still definitely a work in progress. Been able to win pretty handily our first 2 series at home, and then, as you said, went on the road to UT Tyler against a really, really quality opponent, and we're able to split that thing. So, again, a lot of baseball to be played between now and the end, but happy with where we're at.
And having a good start to the season comes from y'all's off-season training, and I don't know exactly the hours y'all work with, but what does, fall baseball look like for y'all?
Fall baseball, we're really limited, and actually we've got some stuff we're trying to change to, get those hours back when we got our life balanced a few years ago. But so we only get 15 hours a week. So we basically only practice 4 days a week during the baseball part, and we pretty much inter-squad every day. And then we go into the weight room part and individuals and stuff, and then you blink your eyes and it's Christmas.
And then going back to this hot start, you got to look at your recruiting. I know every high school team plays during y'all season.
Right.
So what's the struggles with recruiting?
Oh, man, it is. It's so hard because, as you say, the guys are playing when we're playing, so it's tough to see them play. So I think on that, you really got to depend upon your network of people that you know and trust, and depend on their eyes a lot, guys that are able to get out and see more players than we are. And then the summer, obviously, is a really, really big time for us to get out and get recruiting as well. But it's always been, you find people you trust. They say this guy's good or whatever, or good player, good person. And you find those people you trust, and you continue to trust them as long as they keep evaluating well. And then obviously you've got your own evaluations, which, with the advent of video so much more, you can use that a lot to just maybe confirm what you already think you see.
And then when you get those new recruits in, they come in the fall. It's such a big roster baseball has because y'all got to roll through pitchers. What's it like getting them into the program with such a large roster?
Well, it's always a huge challenge, because in baseball, generally only 9 are playing, and we've got a roster of about 45. So you got 36 people not playing, and that's always a huge challenge to keep everybody going the same direction, keep everybody happy, all those things. And our players, returning players, do such a great job of just sort of explaining what we're about, how to be successful, and teaching those new guys on how we do it. And if you do it this way, your chances of success are really good.
And then when you talk about your inter-squad in the offseason, I know y'all have y'all's Fall World Series. What's the competition like in that, maybe some of the bantering going on?
Well, I think, it's a great thing. We just put on the uniforms. We make a little bigger deal out of it. It's always interesting to see how certain players sort of elevate their games during that. And then it's a fun time. I mean, it's been a few years, but a few years ago, David Goggin and Sam Kohler, so that was off 15-16 World Series team, and Sam's team name, we always let the players name the team, and he was just Sam's Club. So I remember David took his team to Sam's, and they took a team picture, and had the Sam's Club fans wearing their stuff that way. Anyway, just good banner and fun, and it adds a little bit to it, and good way to cap off the fall.
And then coming into this season, you've had back-to-back World Series championship appearances. You won 2 years ago. This last year, I want to talk about y'all were pretty injury-plagued the whole season.
Were.
And you still fought through the whole season, got there to the end. What was that like?
Yeah, really, and I told that group at the end of last year, probably the most proud of any of the teams I've been, due to how much adversity we faced with injuries, and we didn't get off to the greatest start, and a lot of people doubted us, including myself, and we just kept working one day at a time, and eventually sort of put it together and played real well down the stretch, and were able to get back to that championship game, and we're in it, and just came up a little short there, but I've been doing it a long time, and we hate injuries and all that stuff, but I've been doing it 30 years and haven't had a season yet where I hadn't had injuries. So you try to plan through that through your roster building and et cetera. Now, trying to do it and then accomplishing it are two different things, but we had so many guys step up that the plan for them was not to have major roles that ended up having major roles. And that is very rewarding as a coach when you see those guys, because you know how hard they're working, and they maybe don't get the reward with playing time and stuff. And then to see them get the opportunity, then just take advantage of it, and then the team to have success, it's very rewarding. So couldn't have been more proud of that group and all the adversity they had to overcome to get where they got.
And I know y'all started, I think you were the bottom seed going into Cary.
Yeah, that was sort of a joke, but yes, we were.
Yes, y'all went in bottom seed, still got through. First seed was y'all's first game, beat them, knocked them out, and only lost one game before the championship.
Yeah, we did, and it was probably a really good thing because if you remember, we went in the conference tournament and we didn't score in 2 games, so that was sort of not the greatest way to go in and play that, and and then somehow we went from number 2 in the region to 6 and almost didn't get in. So, and that was a really good thing. I think that really motivated our team. I think it was good. It's generally not good to get away from home, but we probably weren't hearing the kindest things about us. So to get out of Texas and go to Colorado and sort of just be around us was really good. And then, able to run through that thing, and then, headed up to Lubbock, where we've always had a lot of success.
And talking about playing, y'all had to travel to Colorado for that tournament. What's that altitude like for getting the ball in the air?
I think there's a lot more made out of it than is, but it's always been real good to us. We've never lost up there, so we've won every regional up there ever. So it's really similar to us, I think, just because the air's so thin here. I think the biggest thing is maybe breaking stuff for pitchers. Maybe it's not quite as tight and quite as big due to the altitude, but you hit it good, it goes a long way, and you don't. Maybe some can sneak out depending on the wind and the elements, but it doesn't play any different than going to Cameron or Lubbock or any of those places with the wind blowing out.
And so I also want to talk going into this season, 10-2, those 2 losses. Is that UT Tyler?
Right.
Y'all lost the first 2 and then bounced back. What does that say about this team?
Well, that was good. It's early, still trying to figure out things out, but that was a really good sign as far as just mental toughness and the ability to compete, because, we lost the first 2 and then came back and were able to catch the next 2, so it's a draw. We'll take that. Like I say, we don't think we're by any means a finished product of where we're going to be, and I'm sure they aren't either, but, I'm sure we'll see those guys again and look forward to it when we do.
And then this past weekend, y'all played Sul Ross State here, the newest member of the conference. And I know they're new. They just moved up from, was it D3 or NAI?
D3.
D3, and y'all handled them pretty well, easily in the 4 games. But what's it like with the conference growing with more teams?
Well, our conference is big. We're the biggest in the country. We've not really played non-conference games to speak of in a number of years. We played 2, and I think our doubleheader against Wayland Baptist coming up here in a couple weeks. But it's pretty much a conference-only schedule. It hurts us in the math because everybody's 500, right?
Yeah.
Every weekend somebody plays, win, lose. So it's tough for our strength of schedule to be much above 500, even though the league obviously is if not the best in the country, one of the best. So it hurts us on those metrics and stuff, but again, at the end of the day, get in, and the results are on the field. And, we've done a good job of handling that part. So there are advantages and disadvantages. I think what it does, at least gets our best teams in the conference to the postseason, and we don't have a team that probably shouldn't be there that gets there because of schedule.
And it's just kind of basketball coach Patel always talks about how the early season interconference challenges, that sets up the records for later on to get into later tournaments. So that hurts y'all most of the time.
Well, yeah, it hurts us that we don't have that
Yeah.
because we just play each other. But, again, basketball, has got 8 teams that get in, and, God, I wish we had 8. We only get 6, and it makes it really difficult. But you figure at least 3 to 4 Lone Star Conference teams are getting in. So basically you figure if you finish 3rd or 4th in the conference, you should get a shot at the postseason. And so, like I say, it's it's pretty repetitive now. I think we're, for me, we don't get to play anybody new ever. I mean, it's relatively the same schedule, but it's really good competition, and we're probably getting way better competition playing within conference than going outside and playing non-conference.
And I wanted to talk about it since I brought up Coach Patel and the basketball team. The fall for Angelo State and all sports kind of ran the Lone Star Conference. How does that kind of help push y'all for the spring to really go out there and just push for it?
Well, I mean, man, what a great fall it was. Football won the conference. Chuck and them won the tournament and got to the Elite Eight and won a game for the first time ever. And then, it really was. It was a banner year in soccer. Coach McCorkle won the regular season and the postseason tournament. So it's always good. I think, success breeds success. And so the hot fall everybody had, hopefully, Travis and them are tearing it up in softball right now. I'm sure Tom will be great. Jason, just huge win, and Barb Goff's doing much better as well. And so, hopefully it ends up being at the end of this thing, a really great year.
And you're looking to go to how many years in a row have you been to Cary? What
5.
Years,
and we were ranked 1 in the country when the world ended and they stopped our season. So in theory, this would be number 7. But we'll see. I mean, we're getting sort of spoiled. You realize how hard it is to make it, and our players have done a great job of keeping it going. So we'll try to do it again. I know I've run into more people this year throughout town and the state, just like we're going to Cary this year, acting like it's a foregone conclusion. So I hope we don't let all those people down.
And then going to Cary, you've been so many times now. What's Cary like for you outside of the baseball?
It's awesome, looking at a timeshare. Hadn't pulled the trigger on that yet. But, the people are so great. I think that's the biggest thing. You've got great facilities. The people at USA Baseball are awesome. The Raleigh Sports Authority that does so much work. And then the competition, I mean, they're just really, really good teams there. And so it's fun. You get to compete against the best at a world-class facility. And the weather's generally pretty. It's hurricane season, so we generally get hit by a little rain at times. But they do a great job. And I always say this: I've been to Omaha, I've been to Cary. Cary has been a better experience for me. So.
And then, so talking about this season, you're pushing for that. I looked at some of the numbers so far. The guys with 2 plate appearances per game, all over 300 batting average. And I believe you have 6 guys over the 400 mark.
Yeah.
How's the hitting been going?
Well, I thought this weekend we did some really good things. Pitch discipline I thought was really good, and it can be difficult sometimes when you're facing pitching with a little less velocity than what you're used to. You can start chasing. I thought our guys were really disciplined throughout the first 3 games, and we're doing a good job hitting the ball the other way. Still, short game and stuff, we've got some work to do on to get that better, but pleased in general with where we're at.
And I believe last year, Jacob Guerrero, he was one of the top 3, at least in the nation, in batting average. And this year he's at 500 right now.
Yeah, so that was year before, but last year he had another great year. It's just it's really hard to hit as high as he did, and he still hit 380 or 390 last year or something like that. But he's just a really good player. A lot of fast twitch, really quick hands, and definitely a big part of the things we do.
And then also for the walk rate, your hitters are getting a bunch of walks right now, so the on-base percentage is even higher.
Yeah.
How's the walk-in looking for you?
Well, good. I mean, I think it's an integral part, that and the hit by pitch, and we've got a ton of those too, and we generally lead the nation in that. And, it comes back to basic, simple things. Most of our guys hit good pitch as well, so we want to pick those out, and those are the ones we want to swing at, and we want to take the other ones. And, that generally walk rate goes up, and then just being able to fight and compete a little bit with 2 strikes, you can, push those numbers up a little bit more. But the more people we can get on base, the better for us. Then we can start to try to create some things on the base pass.
And getting the runs across, y'all have gotten plenty in this year so far. But talking about the pitching, Nick Wilson and Dak Staff, they've combined for 4 wins so far and only 1 loss.
Yeah. Nick is transferred from Dallas Baptist. Has done a great job. He started the opening game of each series so far and really gone out. That's one thing. The first game of a series can really affect the next games. He's gone out and gotten us deep into ball games, allowed us to save our bullpen, and has gone out and given us 3 quality starts. Dax, we've sort of bounced back and forth. This was his first start this weekend, but he's done well, whether that be out of the pen or in a starting role, and we're still sort of trying to figure out everybody's roles and when they're throwing and all that stuff, and I'm sure that'll continue to evolve.
And when you look at pitching, I know y'all have the pitch count. It's a lot harder to really roll in pitchers. Do you try to get guys more pitches early in the season or later in the season?
Well, we build them up, and that happens in inter squads and then while they're at home. And then now, for example, Nick went 4 innings on Friday. It wasn't because he was throwing bad. It was we were up big.
Yeah.
And so we're not real big on throwing non-competitive innings. So, he'd gotten his work in, so to speak, gotten his pitch count up enough, and we can save him a few, hopefully make him a little fresher at the end. So we've been able to get a lot of guys in there due to the fact that we've had some good leads early in games, and the pitchers have done a good job.
And so also your pitching staff, you've had some guys drafted the last few years, MLB draft. When it comes to assistant coaches, I've always wondered, your assistant coaches, I feel like every part of the game's done so well. You got to credit some to them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got Sam Mote and Adam Foster, and this staff. We made the World Series every year. We've had this staff together, so I think everybody, and that's the one thing. I mean, we do have some responsibilities as far as individual positions, but also all 3 of us have knowledge in all the areas, and so it's sort of, I think, stupid to actually not use that person's expertise, even though they're not that position coach. And so all 3 of us, when we feel like we can help, and we're baseball coaches, not hitting coaches or fielding coaches or outfield or pitching coaches. We're all baseball coaches. So I think that's one thing that we do a little bit differently. But, obviously, Adam's with the pitchers way more than anybody else, and Sam works with the infielders and hitters as well. And we all dabble in everything.
And you talk about you've made it to the World Series every time you've had this staff the last few years. Do you ever maybe get a little worried about them taking a job somewhere?
Absolutely. And, hopefully, Angelo State, we step up and keep them here. So, but yeah, I mean, they've turned down numerous jobs because it's a special place here, and they want to be here. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. We all want to be here.
And I always ask all the coaches, and we segued into it pretty well right there. Angelo State, you've been here 21 years. San Angelo, the town, what's really been the appeal for you all these years?
Man, I grew up in Waco. I love Waco. It reminds me of Waco when I grew up. It's about the same size town as Waco. The people here are just, you can't overstate how good the people are here. And, we've got obviously great facilities now. The fan support that we have is unmatched as well. And so it's just really tough to go, wow, that's better, because I don't think there's too much out there better.
Yes. And so I remember I talked to softball. Y'all's fields face different directions.
Opposite, yeah.
And so we usually get a southern wind, which helps y'all a bit sometimes. Whenever it's a windy day, do you maybe focus on getting more left-handed batting in there?
No, don't really. I mean, doing this for so long, the biggest factor in how the game's going to be played is the weather. It's bigger than the players on the field, any of that stuff. It's huge. And so you've got to learn. I mean, it's funny, Travis in softball, generally wind's blowing in, ours blowing out, and I'd a lot rather switch. I mean, we're always way better with the wind blowing in. Unfortunately, we play most of our games with our wind blowing out. So we got to figure out how to win in those, and I do think it's generally more of a struggle for us on those days. But you got to find the ways to win in all different environments, and so I think it makes us better ultimately because we've just had experience in all those different things and have had to figure it out.
And then on Saturday, I know the winds were getting up to 30,
Yeah.
and whenever a fly ball would get up there, what's it like? I know you played back in the day. Whenever it was windy and a pop fly maybe got in the air.
Well, those are treacherous on those days. You've got to take your context clues, right? And which way is it blowing? How hard is it blowing? And you've had batting practice and stuff, so you probably got a few. And but generally on those days, and when we get that really, really strong wind, it's generally straight out to right. So you just got to understand most balls are gonna slice off a right-hander, and we get 30 feet to the right of it and 30 feet deeper than what you think, and then adjust from there.
And you talk about your success in Lubbock, and it gets windy up there just as well as here. Do you think that's a big factor when you get up there playing in that wind?
No, I don't know why. For some reason, obviously it's windy a lot of places we go. And here the wind is generally not that big of a factor. I mean, it's not generally windy. Now we have days, but compared to all the other schools we go to, it is not near as windy here. And so I don't know. It plays real fast. I think that helps us. They hit balls 500 feet. We hit them 350, but that goes out with the wind there, 375. So all you got to do is hit it 376. Maybe we take advantage of that. I don't know why, but we tend to play well there.
And then I know we kind of got away from talking about assistant coaches, but I also want to talk about Jackson Berry.
Yep.
He's your new grad assistant, and he played for the last 4 years, I believe.
Yeah, last 2 years. But, Jackson, I've known his father for a long time. His dad's one of the big reasons softball's doing so good, because they've been able to recruit a lot of his players. He's the softball coach at McLennan Community College, and we've obviously got a lot of really good players from there. And he was a baseball coach for a long time. He was an assistant at Baylor when I first met him when I was at Texas A&M. And so he really comes from a really good baseball family and background. And he's helped with the pitchers a bunch this year and has done a fantastic job. So we're really excited to have him around as well.
And then I also wanted to talk, one of the biggest supporters for Angelo State baseball here is one of the instructors, Manny Campos. What's it like having him around and being such a big supporter?
Well, I mean, Manny is just, he's Mr. ASU in my mind. He does so many things for so many organizations and San Angelo. I mean, he's the one that needs to run for mayor. I think he'd be really good. But, he's just got a servant's heart more than anything. And he just, He wants to help our players in any way he possibly can. He gives so much of his time, of his individual money, on the birthday bash he does every year that you're a part of as well. And he doesn't have to do that. He's not making a fortune, I'm sure, as a professor here. And so, but he wants to pour into other people. And, we couldn't do what we do without him.
And then talking about the birthday bash we had at Fifi Dubois.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what does maybe some off time look for you? I know you don't get away from the baseball too much.
Well, we don't get it, So we start practice January 10th. We play every Saturday and Sunday. So we get back from the World Series, and then that's recruiting time. So, one of those things, it'd be nice if we could get a day off here or there during the week, but it's not the way it is. Yeah. And luckily we love what we do, but as I'm in my 50s now, mid 50s instead of my 30s, it is getting more difficult. But anyway, hopefully I can get through this year, and then we'll see what next year leads us.
And then being at practice so much, do you ever maybe hop in there, throw some pitches, get some at-bats against the guys?
I throw BP every day, but no, my days of demonstrating were a long time ago. I remember that was real good advice once you get out of playing is don't demonstrate, because I wasn't very good, and I don't want to show them I wasn't. So they can go look up my stats.
And then I believe you played at your hometown Baylor.
Yeah.
And then what was that career like, maybe building up for this?
Oh, it was not a very good career, but it was great. I grew up in Waco, was a huge Baylor fan, so it was, an honor to wear that jersey. Like I say, I wasn't much of a player. It was good enough for them to allow me to be a part of the program. Hopefully I contributed. That's one thing I think. For guys that aren't playing as much, I do think that's one thing I can see because I've been there, and but also see how you can be really valuable to your team and help make them better, which that's everybody's job on the team is to help make it better, but take pride in that and doing as good as you can. But, I was really, really honored to be a part of them.
And do many of the coaches you had in those days, do you maybe still contact them now that you're a
Well,
coach?
my head coach passed away about 10 years ago, but, he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest men I've ever met. My assistant coach is still with us, and I do talk to him occasionally. And then, I've got a group chat with, our teammates and stuff that's pretty active. So, that's the thing. It's so cool, these relationships that we all make. They're lifetime things, and it's one cool thing about being a part of it.
And then here at Angelo State, we call it the Ram Fam. What's maybe the relationship you have with all the other coaches?
Oh, here, it's great. What a talented group. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And there are many times, I will go pick the brain of one of the other coaches just because they're good. They're really good at what they do, and they might have thought about a situation in a different way. Mm-hmm. And so, how blessed we are to have such a talented group of coaches.
And then I always wonder, do y'all have anything y'all maybe go do, maybe a pickup game at the Janelle or anything?
I think they do. We're again, I can just see my knee shattering. So I've had too many surgeries. I don't want another one. But yeah, I think the noon basketball league, I think, is thriving. Mm-hmm. I choose not to participate. Therefore, we don't have to burden the trainers and our medical staff.
Were you a big basketball guy in high school, any?
No, I retired from basketball after junior high, but a big fan, But yeah, I can still free throws. I'm good. I can still shoot.
Oh yeah, you could probably show some of the players we got here. Maybe go give them some demonstrations.
I doubt that. They're pretty talented.
I know we've got some pretty good basketball. All of Angelo State's been succeeding here lately incredibly. Softball's 9-1 right now. Y'all are 10-2. Basketball, they've have some good records. I can't name that off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, it's been a great year, and hopefully we can finish strong.
Yes, sir. And Coach, that'll wrap it up, I believe, for today. Thank y'all for watching this week's episode of Ramzone. We had Coach Kevin Brooks. I hope to see y'all next week.